let's go, let's go.
About a week ago, Cedar Point, located in Sandusky, Ohio, announced what would soon be known as the most shocking theme park announcement of 2024, the addition of a record-breaking tilt coaster, Siren's Curse. This coaster truly is a wild addition, and no one could have predicted it. But with all the hype about the new coaster and brewing excitement, the interesting trend is that now all eyes are on a specific theme park located on the complete opposite end of North America, and that theme park is Six Flags Mexico. As coincidentally, a similar coaster was rumored for the park to come in 2025. And with a quiet Six Flags Mexico and a very similar but out of the park attraction coming to Cedar Point, it brings the big question: did Six Flags Mexico lose their new coaster to Cedar Point? In today's video, we're discussing exactly that, discovering if this wild theory just might have a little truth to it. But before we get started, if you're new here, welcome to the channel for all those thrill seekers. On JB Thrills, we make all sorts of content related to theme parks and thrill rides, no matter where they're located. So if you're a thrill seeker that's interested, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so when new videos come out of my channel, which can also help me on the road to 10,000 subscribers, and special thanks to my current subscribers. Without further ado, let's get into today's video. When I woke up on the morning of September 19th, I was not expecting Cedar Point to announce their new attraction. I felt like just a few days ago, Cedar Point had just started to tease their new attraction after just removing a beloved one. The teaser had everything to do with water and a possible nautical theme, leading all the Cedar Point fanboys and coaster enthusiasts to predict a possible water coaster coming to Cedar Point, which made total sense. If you're removing a water attraction, you're replacing it with a water attraction, unless you have multiple. In the case of Cedar Point, they went with an unconventional method and completely shocked the world with a brand new tilt coaster that's also a record breaker. Now of course, this is not to complain, as it is an amazing addition for Cedar Point, and while there is some controversy, I personally think it fits really well with their lineup. But regardless, you have to admit this coaster feels like it came out of nowhere. You build up all the hype of a nautical theme, have the location of the ride planned out, just to have a completely new location and a completely new coaster. It's almost like if plans changed, but why? Enter Six Flags Mexico. Located in Mexico City, Mexico, this park's pretty unique. As from all the Six Flags parks, it stands out alone, not only from being outside the US, but also with unique theming and attractions you don't really see in the US. A few months ago in August, it was that time again to predict new attractions for Six Flags in 2025. Theme parks like Great America and New England were teasing huge new additions for the new year, leaving many speculating. But it wasn't just those two parks. The other one on the list was Six Flags Mexico. In fact, the same way that Great America and New England were teasing a specific date for their new announcement, Mexico was planning the same thing. And to add on, it wasn't just a date, they even had a theme. A few weeks prior to the announcement, the Six Flags Mexico Instagram started putting out teasers of Harley Quinn, possibly foreshadowing a Harley Quinn themed attraction coming in 2025. It didn't stop there though. The speculation from Mexico to get a brand new coaster didn't happen per chance. It was intentional because there was a leak just a few months earlier, a modern Vekoma track spotted outside the park, on site. And Six Flags Mexico was submitting permits to allow for the installation of a brand new coaster on the property. So it's pretty much confirmed. And what happened next? The announcement date arrived, and Great America announced a huge new B&M dive coaster, New England announced a new family coaster, and Mexico, the one that was pretty much confirmed, remained silent. An announcement did eventually come out in the park, and it was just for a brand new haunt named Deceased, themed to zombified DC Universe characters, putting highlight on Harley Quinn, leading many to believe that Harley Quinn teasers was just for this, but I don't think so. The reason why is Mexico had permits for a brand new coaster, red modern Vekoma track, that was pretty much confirmed to be a tilt coaster, and the Harley Quinn theme. It all leads to a Harley Quinn themed tilt coaster that was supposed to open in 2025. So why didn't it happen? Well, soon enough, Mexico did put out an announcement on their Instagram, talking about how they're working with the Mexico government to install this brand new coaster due to regulations. You see, park regulations here work a lot different than some parks in the US, and to install a brand new coaster taking out lots of trees would be a big deal for Mexico to do, so they wouldn't allow it. Despite the pending challenges, Six Flags Mexico would put out an announcement talking about how they were going to strategically plan this brand new coaster and install it without removing a lot of trees. But when that announcement date dropped and no announcement happened, the entire Six Flags Mexico Instagram page got a facelift, meaning all their previous posts were deleted, and it's why I can't show you the picture of that announcement. All that was shown was Fright Fest related material, and when that changed again later, all the teasers and announcements about the brand new coaster got taken away, seemingly meaning a scrapped idea. And this is where the theory begins. As this whole mess happens, just a few weeks after that announcement, Cedar Point unveils their new coaster, which just so happens to be a brand new tilt coaster like what Mexico was supposed to get. So the real question is this coaster from Six Flags Mexico? Or is it all just a big coincidence? Let's look at the clues. Number 1. The tilt coaster does not add up. Like we all said, when watching the teaser for the brand new coaster coming to Cedar Point 2025, it had a nautical theme put out shortly after the removal of Snake River Falls, a water attraction. And all of a sudden, this brand new coaster is put in a completely different location with a kind of slapped on name. If the coaster was going there, why take away Snake River Falls? It could have at least lasted another year. I'm no Cedar Point expert, but I don't think Snake River Falls was taken away just from service life. If it was service life, it wouldn't be operating for a final day. It would have been a vortex situation. So clearly something changed. Number 2, the coaster track. If you watch the animation for Siren's Curse and look closely at the track is the same shade of red as the one that was leaked out for Six Flags Mexico. And if we're assuming that Harley Quinn was the theme for this new coaster, red and black is typically her color scheme. Red trains, black supports, and lights, similar to a current trend in Six Flags Mexico where they're installing brand new lights on their attractions, like their SNS drop tower. And number 3, the coaster does seem a little bit unfinished. This one does seem a little bit more speculative, but if you're watching the animation, for the coaster advertised to be this great themed ride, you don't really see much about it, just the lights on the side of the coaster. The station of the attraction isn't really shown that much, and it's just the ride itself. Now of course, Cedar Point isn't really known much for theming, just installing brand new coasters, but their most recent rides have had pretty good theming, Top Thrill 2, and their Wild Mouse. If Cedar Point's new model is more theming, then we probably could have seen a lot more to it. And I do believe there'll probably be more theming when the actual ride opens, considering again it was probably last minute. But again, it only strengthens the argument that this coaster might be the one from Mexico. And to put the nail in the coffin, with the current merger between Cedar Fair and Six Flags, that means they're all one chain now, and Six Flags is typically known for switching coasters to each of their parks, because after all, they're in the same chain. The coasters are just assigned to parks, and if that's the case, then that means Cedar Fair and Six Flags probably came to a conclusion to decide that Mexico's coaster would soon go to Cedar Point. But you might be watching this wondering, why does it matter? After all, Cedar Point got a new coaster, and Mexico will hopefully get something else. Well, honestly, this brings a whole bunch of new questions. First of all, what is Mexico going to get next? And second of all, what was Cedar Point's original plan? And why did they, of all the parks in the entire chain, get the tilt coaster? One of the biggest arguments many coaster enthusiasts were making is that Cedar Point didn't really need this coaster. And while I do love Siren's Curse and it will look great in Cedar Point, I tend to agree partly. The tilt coaster could have gone to any of the most needed parks in the entire chain. Some parks that definitely come to mind is Six Flags St. Louis or even Valley Fair. But Six Flags and Cedar Fair specifically chose Cedar Point, and there's clearly a reasoning behind that. And I think it has something to do with the original plan for the park. If we're assuming this tilt coaster was last minute, there was clearly different plans for the park. Snake River Falls got removed for a brand new attraction to go in that spot, just for it now to be remained empty. Whatever was originally planned to go in that spot was probably problematic, and with the current issues of TT2, they wanted the next attraction to not be a similar situation, so they had to pick the next best option as fast as possible. And just so happened there was a tilt coaster that Mexico did not need, and they took it. As for the original attraction that was supposed to be in that spot, I'm betting it was some sort of water attraction, most likely a water coaster for the park. Mach has definitely been selling more of them, and it wouldn't be surprising for Cedar Point to work with them. After all, they worked with Six Flags before with Aquaman Power Wave, and if Six Flags and Cedar Fair together, they can work with Cedar Fair as well. But also, Mach has had some bad history, with their Aquaman Power Wave attraction over Texas being delayed for 3 years. And can you imagine having a new water coaster for Cedar Point and TT2 both being unoperational due to them being delayed? It wouldn't go good, and I'm betting either that or a similar situation caused them to choose a tilt coaster instead. As for Six Flags Mexico, their future for a new coaster is now uncertain, but I do have high hopes they're probably going to choose a new coaster soon. The biggest issue is the fact that they wouldn't have to take a lot of trees out. If they choose a very custom terrain coaster, it could work really well for Mexico. The tilt coaster might not have been it, but I'm saying maybe a launch coaster could work. Something like Alpen Fury in Canada's Wonderland, with a custom fit for Mexico, would make it the fastest coaster in Mexico and the only one of its type in Central America. And the park did promise they were going to make a way for that new ride, so maybe 2026 is their year. While it may be sad for those Mexico coaster enthusiasts that a tilt coaster could have gone to their park and instead went to Cedar Point, it is still really exciting times for 2025. To have a record-breaking modern Vekoma coaster in the Americas is just a huge deal. Not to mention it came from Six Flags. Once this coaster becomes operational, it'll be so amazing to experience and see next year. And hopefully it's not another TT2 event. And of course, while it does seem very believable that this coaster might be from Mexico, we still have to take this theory with a grain of salt. It could have just been a brand new tilt coaster that Cedar Point bought. Or maybe it is the one from Mexico. Either way, it's just a theory, but a really fun one at that. Anyways, what do you think? Should Siren Curse go to Cedar Point or to a different park? And what do you think Six Flags Mexico is going to get now? Comment down below. If you enjoyed today's video and want to see more like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button, which can also help me on my challenge to 10,000 subscribers. To explain the challenge really briefly, if I reach 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year and get 1,000 followers on my Instagram, the channel will no longer have just voiceovers, but instead a face to the voice. So if you want to participate in the challenge and help out, tap that red button right there. Regardless, thank you for watching, and this is JB Thrills signing out.